Welcome back to the channel. It's me, Jodi Anne, card slinger extraordinaire. Can you believe it? Here we are, January 2025, and I have got your year ahead tarot spread. We're going to look at this year month by month. I've got a card for each month. We're going to walk through it to give you the best information we can to help you through this next year. If you are new to this channel, I have been reading tarot for more than 20 years. I have a podcast. I teach. Everything you need to know can be found on my website, www.jodiannepsychicmedium.com. How to get a reading, free information on the podcast about tarot, free information here about tarot. Please like, please subscribe. I'm an independent podcast. So all the likes and all the clicks really do matter. Now let's get into your cards. What I've done this year is the same thing I do every year is a big wheel. So we're going to pull a card for every single month and then look at it, break it down, talk about it. That way you can come back over and over as this year goes forward and touch base and get the information you need. There has been so many shifts and changes this year. Pluto has made a big change. But what does that mean? Okay, it doesn't move very often, only every 16 years. So that means something you started in 2008, something going on in 2008 wrapped up in and around November-ish time. And so now we're really stepping into a whole new phase. There's a lot of new things opening up, and I want to give you the best advice going forward. Let's have a look at the whole spread, shall we? So this is what we're going to work through. So you can see there's a lot going on here. First impressions of this spread is that we're going to start creeping along in January, and then things are really going to start getting busy in the summer. End of spring into the summer, big shift there for everyone. And then unfolding all through the fall. That's kind of my first impression. But let's break it down each card at a time. Here we have January's card. Starting off this season, we have the Four of Swords. Now, this is talking to all of you who have not taken care of yourselves through the big shift. Whatever you've been ignoring, whether it's physical stuff, emotional stuff, or energy wise, wherever you've been ignoring your health, whatever you're worrying about, losing sleep about, there is a tendency for it to catch up to you by the end of January. You see that Four of Swords, how he's sleeping on the floor? It's all those undercurrents, all those things we've been kind of suppressing and ignoring, even though we know that they are important. They're bubbling up in a way that can no longer be ignored. So this may mean chronic issues resurfacing. It may mean lack of sleep. It may mean disturbed sleep. Whatever's going on, it's because you've been ignoring. So it's something you have had the signs for. What you need to do is breathe, take a step back, and do the care you need. Some of you, that's going to mean getting more active. Some of you, it's going to mean being less active. Okay. You know what you've been shoving under the rug. You know what things you've been ignoring and what is bubbling up. Tend to it. I mean, it's free will, baby. You do not have to tend to it, but know that if you don't, it's going to get louder. If you don't, you're going to have those disturbed dreams. If you don't, you're going to have that chronic flare up. It's going to happen because you've been ignoring it too long. So this is your warning. Well, everything's dark. Everyone's quiet. While nothing interesting is happening in January, take care of yourself. Okay? In February, we have the Hangman card. And I always find it interesting when the Hangman card comes up because it has a twofold message. The first part of the message is that timing is actually out of your control. That what you need or what you think you need to have happen is not going to happen when you want it to. It's totally out of your control. What is in your control is your perspective. And that's one of the things that the hangman talks about is flipping things over, flipping them on their heads and getting that upside down view of it all. Does that make sense to you? So February, I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what the issue is. We'll come back and do monthly spreads all year long. But for February, something that you need to have happen isn't happening. And the lesson is in the pausing. The lesson is in the relinquishing control and not forcing to accept the fact that the timing's not happening the way you want it to. And there's a perspective shift in that that we need to learn in February. Looking at the March card, which is the 10 of coins, I want to say that this has something to do that the February card is going to tie into our abundance and our finance. Okay. I say that because it feels like something is coming to a close, something is coming to fruition for people in March. And I feel like this is tied into the whole shift we're having collectively with people moving into a new place in the realm of Pluto, because Pluto is about the underworld, right? It is about the subconscious. It is about those wounds we can only see in the darkness. It is a very deep and beautiful planet. And with this shift, because it's an outer planet and it takes a lot of time, it's not just going to pop and ripple through everything from November and December. It's going to be this slow burn. So we're going to see things happening in March that are going to be the ending of a cycle, and it's connected to our abundance, to our job, to how we work in the world, because it is that 10 of coins. And that's earthly stuff. That's this realm stuff. It's not esoteric and floaty. It's like for real finance, for real abundance, how we live, what we like, what we have. So I feel like that February piece of needing to get some perspective and things being out of your control are tying into whatever's happening in March, and things will tie off then. Does that make sense? I know it's hard. We're reading for a whole collective and it feels very vague and obscure. So if this doesn't make sense to you, come on back here in March and have a look at it then and see where this fits for you. There's a big fruition. There's a big end of cycle in your realm of earthly things. So, jobs, finances, maybe you're paying off that loan. Maybe you have a goal that you've been working on and it's finally come to its realization and manifestation. March, very prosperous, very delicious, but also an ending. Moving into April, we have the 7 of coins. Lots of coins in this spread, and it is a slow burn. This is where I got that idea of the beginning of the year being a real slow burn. We come into it feeling kind of burnt out, kind of low, and having a message to take care of ourselves. We get to April and we have a mini harvest. We have the 7 of coins coming up for us and telling us that there is goodness on the horizon, that fruits of our labor are coming into our basket, that we have a lot more than we realize coming to us. And I know that there's a lot going on in our world, and I feel like that's why the coins are coming up. Collectively, the finances of the year are going to be tricky. We are not living in an easy economy, my loves. And we're seeing that in this 2025 spread. We have abundance in the 7 of coins. And then right after it, in May, we have that 5 of coins, that reaching, that needing, that out in the cold feeling, that victimization of ourselves in our realms of the earth, which is all things delicious and prosperous and material. The 5 is going to hit you all differently. Some of you will have burdens, real financial burdens, But many of us are going to be flipping into scarcity mindset. I find this card is often about scarcity mindset, especially because it's paired right beside this 7. We have all this abundance, but a feeling of poverty. We have all that we've harvested coming to fruition, but a feeling of neediness. So I want you guys to really think about that before we get there. Maybe start examining now. Maybe as you go through your full moon releases in March and April, really look at what kinds of things you could release relating to scarcity. How do you prepare to not get stuck in May? What can you do in February while you're sitting in that hangman card, twiddling your thumbs, that will move and shift your destiny so that when we get to May, you are moving with ease and grace and things come up and you go, oh, yeah, that's where my scarcity would have been triggered. Good thing I did that work before. Because that's why we want to do these readings, love. I want to give you the ammunition you need to get through this with ease. The deep work is going to be happening this year, this slow burn of a year, and we see that in June. Because right after this card of scarcity and need, we have a 2 of swords. And 2s are always, always, always about balance, right? So we have the need for balance, and it's in our mind, it's in that element of the air. So we really need to start balancing what we believe in our minds and what we are putting into our mind, what messages we're feeding ourselves. We're lying to ourselves about something. We're not seeing the full picture of it. And I know because I talked about Pluto at the beginning of this is healing work, baby. I know that I wanted to give you information about how this new chapter of everyone in the collective was going to be. And it's going to be deep. It's got Plutonian themes. We are going to have to make sure we're being honest with ourselves. Are we looking at our beliefs? Are we lying to ourselves? Where are we not staying balanced? The realm of air is the realm of our minds, and it is one of the hardest ones for us to master. It's how we speak to ourselves, how we communicate to others, the ideas, the thought patterns we have. It's some of the hardest things we work through as human beings. That's why the swords in the tarot have so many shocking, crazy depictions in it, because we can master our mind, we can master anything. 2 of Swords. Balance is needed in June. And really looking at what are your thought patterns? What are you telling yourself that isn't true? This is interesting to me because we have the Wheel of Fortune. And there's 2 ways that we learn in the tarot about timing and our ability to control or not control things. One of the cards that teaches us that we are not really in control of anything is the Hangman. And the second card that teaches that is the Wheel of Time. And it's interesting that both of those have come up in this reading. So what that's telling me is whatever 2025 has in store for us, it's definitely going to be teaching us where we stop, where our arms of influence are capable of reaching and where they are not. What do we have power over and what must we surrender? When are we being played with by fate? And when are we the masters of our own destiny? Because here in July, we have a wheel card, the divine wheel, the turning of the seasons, how everything happens in its own time that we cannot force at all. So we're going to see an echo in July of what we were learning in February. With February, we had the hangman where we have to pause and wait, where we can't control what we want to control, where we're in a suspension that's outside of our power to stop. And now we are in July with the Wheel of Time, and we have this idea of things turning on fate's time, not our time. Maybe it's something we need to have happen. Maybe it's something we don't need to have happen. It's going to hit differently for every one of you listening because you all live your own unique lives. But the collective energy is going to be about the cycles and the shifting of things coming into their fruition in time and things receding out of their powerful positions in time. So think about that when we're in July. What do you have planned in July? What do you have going on in July? Timing is going to be important. Knowing when to make a move, knowing when the wheel's going to turn, knowing when to use your energy that's supporting you, and when you're battling against something that won't move. These are going to be lessons we're going to see all through the summer. Into August, we have the Eight of Cups, which is about really letting go. We can't receive with full hands, that we have to be brave enough to release in order to grow, in order to receive. And it does tie into the next card, which is September. It's a faith card. I love this deck. I'm reading with Tiro Manchetti's Legacy of the Divine Tarot, and I love this deck because of how it depicts the faith card. This is the fifth card in the High Arcana. It's formerly known as the Hierophant card, and I love, love, love how this deck has shifted it into faith because it talks about us being in contact with our higher power, of working with spirit. So don't think it's going to be scary this summer. I want you to know that just because these are heavy cards, we have two High Arcana cards, and they're all about timing and fate and not having control over things and knowing when to move and shift. It doesn't have to be a dramatic lesson. Okay, I want you to know that things are going to happen in their own time. That the releasing and letting go is a natural process. A lot of people carry fear around letting go, but we can move in cycles. We can move with time, and we can know that it's okay to release. Everything comes to an end in its time. Go to our place of faith around that. Go to our place of trust. Not just in our higher power, but trusting the path we're on, trusting that we know we're in the right place, even when things aren't working out the way we imagined they should. Chances are something better is coming. Are you ready to look at the fall? Let's look at the fall. Okay. The last three cards that we're going to look at are October, November, December. In October, we have another coin. We have the Eight of Coins this time, a card that talks about refining and honing skills we already have. So I want you to know that as we go through this year, that feels like newness and beginning, what we're actually doing is building off everything we've done before. We are leveling up. This big shift of Pluto is creating a place where we can really move into a newness of power, a next level, an expansion. And remember, this kind of healing does not have to be difficult. We can do it with grace. We can go deeply into our shadow work with love and compassion. And I know that it's a leveling up because the card right next to it in November, we have the Queen of Wands. And I find it really interesting because this whole reading has been earth and air, like really earthy and then airy concepts. And now we have the Queen of Wands. So we're moving out of that space in our head where we need to balance. We're moving out of that material plane and looking at how we are dealing with our earthly matters. And we're coming back into our power and into our fire. The Queen of Wands is a passionate woman who knows what she wants, the exact direction she's going in. She's full of that fiery energy, that passion, that desire. So having gone through a year where things don't work the way we thought they would, where we hit roadblocks, where we learn about how much influence we have and how much faith we need to have. Coming out of that year, we are on fire with our passions. We are moving into that queen energy, that sovereignty, and that royalness of it all. So November is going to be delicious. Whatever we've been doing up until now, all the little stumbles, November is going to feel delicious. And then into December next year, a whole turn of the wheel from where we are now. When I'm recording this for you, we have a Knight of Cups. So as we step into our sovereignty and learn about our power and our position and our fire and our will, the creativity opens up for us. We reignite. So the slow burn year of 2025 seems to end in this delicious place of motion, of flow, of fire and water, of passion and inspiration. It's going to be a really beautiful year. A bit tricky to get to, a bit stumbly and slow feeling, a lot of heavy, earthy energy, a lot of things to check and work through. And it makes sense with what's happening in the world around us. There's a lot of things that are worrisome in our mundane world right now, in our culture and in our lives. But I know we're going to get through this work together. I know we're going to get through this year together. I know that we will be able to take the steps we need to take to move forward no matter what happens. And you can come back to this reading over and over, my love, and get what you need. Now, I'm going to do my best, my very, very best, to also give you a monthly reading as we walk through everything we have this year. So please subscribe, especially if you made it this far. You've listened to the whole reading, my love. You might as well subscribe and see when I put the next one up. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Jodi Anne. I'm a tarot reader with more than 25 years experience reading across tables from people. I have a lot of offerings out here. You can message me on my Instagram, The Witching Half Hour or So. My podcast is out in the world on all the platforms. The Witching Half Hour or So is its name, and you can always subscribe here. We can hang out and talk about tarot and learn about beautiful, esoteric, witchy things. My website is jodiannepsychicmedium.com. You can book a reading with me there or take one of my classes. Happy 2025. I'm excited about this year. It's going to be neat. Okay, see you soon.